Hey, hey, hey! What's happening, awesome people? Joshua Partugi here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the community of passionate changemakers. I hope it has been an awesome week for you folks. I really do. I hope you are having an awesome day today, wherever you are and whatever time you're watching this video. I really wish you well and safe right now, folks. So folks, in today's video, we are going to continue our discussion about the changes made to Scrum Guide and were made available on version 2020. The change that we are going to discuss shortly is what I call a subtle change that can improve your company's state of agility when done right. Before Scrum Guide version 2020, the product owner, Scrum Master, and the developers are defined as roles in Scrum. On Scrum Guide version 2020, the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the developers are now accountabilities. You may be asking to yourself right now, what difference does it even make? Or why does it even matter? Or why should you even care about this small change? It's just changing one word from roles to accountabilities. How would it even change the way your company implements Scrum with this change, you may ask? So in today's video, we are going to focus on just one of the accountabilities in Scrum, that is product owner. I've already made a video about the developers, as there are misinterpretations about the developers in the Scrum team also. If you haven't watched that video, you can click the link up here to watch the video. I will be discussing other accountabilities in Scrum called Scrum Master in another video. In today's video, I will also share with you some manifestations of how the product owner has been misinterpreted in the market. Many of my future videos will also refer to the current video you're watching right now. If you want to learn more about the product owner, stay tuned on this video. I'll be back in a few more seconds right after this one. As you know, according to Scrum Guide, the product owner is one person who is accountable for maximizing the value of the product. In the context of Scrum, the individual who is accountable for maximizing the value of the product, regardless of his or her job title in the company, is the product owner. On the other hand, someone who has the job title product owner in the company may not be the product owner. I know, it's really confusing, right? This is because many companies in the market give job title product owner to those who aren't actually allowed to take ownership over the product. Some companies out there are more focused on changing the labels, for example, changing the label business analyst to product owner. But when you observe closely, sometimes that individual is not allowed to take ownership over the product. Now, I hope you understand why this subtle change was made to Scrum Guide. I've already made a video about the 3 things product owners need to own to be successful in fulfilling their accountabilities. If you haven't watched that video, I suggest that you pause this video you're currently watching right now and click the link up here to watch that video first. Use the 3 criteria mentioned in that video as a guideline to identify who is the product owner in your company. Okay, now that you have watched that video, you may be asking me right now, if the person with the job title product owner is not necessarily the product owner, then who is the product owner in my company? So my suggestion to you is start looking at the product being developed and then look at the people who have stake on that product and then look at the chain of command within that group of people and then identify who is the person in your company that fits the 3 criteria I elaborated in the video that you have just watched. Every company is different, but I will give you some hints based on my personal experience to give you some insights. I will use the job titles used in digital product companies as an example. In some digital product companies, the product owner may be the person who has the title head of product, or sometimes the title is vice president of product, sometimes the title is director of product, sometimes the title is chief product officer. In non-digital product types of companies, the job title may not have any product label on it. But I do hope these examples from digital product companies that I have mentioned give you a starting point to identify who is the product owner in your company. Now, let's look at some manifestations how the product owner is misinterpreted in the market. When a product still has limited functionalities and the user base is only a few, usually there are only a few developers developing the product. Sometimes it's not more than 10 developers and there's only one product owner working with the developers. You often see this scenario in startup companies. Now, when the product scales, the user base also scales, and the company has additional funding, more developers may be added to work on that product. This scenario is also quite common in the digital or technology product companies. The misinterpretation happens when companies added more people with job title product owners to work on this one product and added a manager to manage them. I know it's really confusing, right? But as you know, this is what's currently happening in the market. This usually happens because some companies think that the product owner exists only to write detailed product backlog items for the developers. Some companies think that the product owner is only focused on doing Scrum. They think the product owner is only focused with tactical work. The product owner is not a scribe. We don't add more product owners when there are more than 10 developers working on one product. When there are more than 10 developers developing one product, there's still one product owner because there is still one person accountable for the value of the product. You don't add more CEOs to the company when the company adds more employees, right? When the product scales, the product owner goes higher up and drives the product strategy. The product owner can delegate the tactical work to the developers or even others outside of the Scrum team. Focus on leveraging the product management capability within the Scrum team rather than adding layers that undermines the product owner. Having multiple product owners on one product is one of the reasons why conflict of interest and misalignment happens in the company. In the context of Scrum, on one product, there's only one product owner. One person accountable for maximizing the value of the product regardless the number of developers developing the product. Just like one company only has one CEO. Another instance of how some companies misinterpret the product owner is by making their product owner as the middle person between the customers and the developers. Many Scrum teams who are moving towards continuous delivery and continuous discovery process, sometimes they see their product owner as a blocker for them to get continuous feedback directly from the customers. The product owner does not need to be in the way between the customers and the developers. The product owner is not a proxy. The developers can get feedback directly from the customers without the product owner being in the way. When the developers want to do continuous discovery and continuous delivery process, the product owner puts him or herself out of the developer's way. But when that happens, the product owner is still accountable for maximizing the value of the product. It requires high trust to be accountable for the value of the product without being the proxy between the customers and the developers. Now, before I end today's video, folks, I would like to answer one of the concerns you may have after watching today's video. Some of you may be asking yourself, what do I need to do now if my job title in the company is product owner and I already have the Scrum product owner certificates, but I have identified that the product owner is not actually me. You don't need to be discouraged, folks. Your job title does not define you. As this is a complex situation because there may be a lot of cultural aspects and legacy in your company, my suggestion to you is work with your Scrum Master so that people in your company can have a shared understanding that product owner is an accountability, not a job title. Product owner is not a scribe. Product owner is not a proxy. Encourage people in your company, and that includes the senior management, to focus on empowering and trusting people rather than just relabeling people's job titles. Folks, I've already made a podcast on what if the product owner doesn't have ownership over the product. The video of this podcast is available on my YouTube channel, but you can also listen to this podcast on major podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts. So that is all from me today, folks. Thank you for your time watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you found today's video insightful, don't forget to smash that like button, and please share today's video to people in your company so that we can see more companies improve their state of agility. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss any of the videos I will upload in the future. Until then, don't forget to stay awesome!